Hey, welcome back to Cooking for the Hungry. I am cooking for the hungry. My name is Papa. Today we're going to cover the last segment I'm going to do on protein. Today we're going to talk about dairy. First, I like to talk about eggs. The wonderful egg. There have been so many controversy over cholesterol concerning eggs. I can tell you from everything that I have been reading that the body breaks that down and uses it for protein. It does not build cholesterol in your body. So, the egg doesn't have as much protein in it as you might think. The most you can get out of an egg, 1 ounce, is about 2 grams of protein. So it's not that much protein, but it is good. The other thing I'll talk about is, let's talk about milk. Again, you would think that milk has more protein in it than it does. It has about 1.5 grams to about 2 grams, depending on whether you're drinking 2% or 4% whole. If you get milk from a local person and it's not been homogenized, it does have more protein in it because the cream is still in it. So you're looking at about 3.5 grams of protein in a ounce of milk. And milk is good. It's good to drink. It's good to eat and other things, and it's also good to cook things with. Cook things in. See, the other thing, probably talk about butter. A lot of people use margarine these days, and margarine has got so many things in it that's not good for you. Most margarine has got a lot of trans fat, and trans fat's not good for you. The body has a lot of difficulty in breaking that down, so it builds up in the system and causes fat to go into your system and make fat. And it's very, very hard on your digestive system. We use only butter here. We use whole butter, salted butter. And there's, like I said before, there's people who cannot eat a lot of salt. So they may get non-salted butter. And that's fine, but butter is so much better for you than margarine. Again, I'd tell you that. Yeah, back to milk. The other things I will talk about is the other milks that they're made from something else. They're not milk. You have almond milk and you have soy milk. I'll tell you real quick, my first child was very, very allergic to milk whenever he was born. He could take his mother's milk, but he couldn't drink regular milk in any kind of drink that they have, and any kind of thing that has it in it. He was also allergic to strawberries and some other stuff. But milk is very, very good to have in your cooking and drink. And if you drink almond milk or you drink soy milk, there's a lot of things that people don't think about that you can make with it. one of the things I found is, my son really wanted all the things that we were eating that had milk in it. So what I did is I had to learn a couple of things. I had to learn how to make things with soy milk. It doesn't react quite as much, or it reacts differently than regular milk. Like say you're making gravy, you don't use as much of the soy milk, and I add a little bit of water. And my son was just tickled to death that he was able to have the sausage gravy, but it's made out of soy. At that time, we didn't have almond milk. Almond milk, if it's not got dairy byproducts in it, and some of it does, then you can have that too if you're allergic to milk. And again, it reacts differently whenever you cook, so you have to learn how to adjust it, but it is good. And soy in general, you can make, there's a lot of different products made with soy. Soy is added to a lot of things that you don't realize. I learned to read the labels. Whenever my son became, we realized that he was allergic to so many things. We learned how to read the labels. And what I found out was there's milk in things that you wouldn't think was in there. And some things that you think milk would be in there don't. So please, please read the labels if you got any kind of allergies, because you will be surprised what has things in it and what don't. One of the other things, and I'm just going to throw this in, is bananas. I didn't talk about bananas. They talk about bananas being the world's most perfect food, or the world's most perfect fruit. It is good because it's got some things in it you really need, especially when you get older. Bananas have a lot of potassium in it, and older people tend to wash a lot of that out of you, especially if you're drinking a lot of diet drinks, or you're drinking diuretics like coffee, tea, and things like that. You're washing out, and soda, you're washing it out of your system, so you really need to put it in. Personally, I get tired of bananas. I'll eat them, for a while, and then I just switch over to some potassium pills, supplements to take care of that. But they do have protein in it, not as much as you think. A whole banana's got about 1.7 to 2 grams in an average sized banana. So that's good stuff. That's good to know. So let me talk about protein in general. There's a lot of good calculators out there, and I talked about that before, but I run mine, and mine runs about 150. I need about 150 grams per day of protein, and they go by your age, your weight, your height, and then they come up with the amount of grams that I need. So 150 grams is a lot when you start thinking about how much grams is in an ounce of something. So planning your meals out is very, very important. And I would recommend that you look all this stuff up, all the things that you eat, the different types of meat or fish or nuts, eggs, cheese. We didn't talk about cheese yet, but cheese don't have as much protein in it as you think either, but it's very good for you. I add it to a lot of things. I use it to boost the protein in my dishes, I add extra meat. So sit down, look up all of the things that you eat that would have protein in it, and see how much it's got, and plan your meals out accordingly. I even look at things like hamburger. When the type of the mixture of hamburger that I eat, if you cook a half a pound hamburger, it's gonna shrink down to about a third of a pound. So you figure on a third of a pound, you know. And like I said, I've said over and over, with meat, you have to, well, you don't have to, but I highly recommend that you cook your meat with fat in it and cook the fat out. It'll leave the flavor, but you won't have all that fat. And some of it I cut out if it's real bad. Cheeses, you know, cheddar cheese, you know, that's got, what, about 3 grams to an ounce, yeah, on average. And please, if you're eating processed cheese, stop eating it. You want to eat cheeses that are good for you, whole cheeses, fresh cheeses. That's always good if you can get it, but always buy cheese that's non-processed. Cheddar, Colby Jack, mozzarella, provolone. There's a whole bunch of cheeses that people like to eat. And some people like to eat quite a variety of it. They might eat Gouda or feta. You know, there's so many different kinds of cheeses. There's cheeses made out of cow's milk, goat's milk. There's, like I said, there's just a bunch of different types. But again, when you're planning your meal, the reason why I covered all this stuff, so that you can see how little or how much higher things have protein in it. Because you might think you're eating enough protein. But let me tell you what happens with me and a lot of people I know. If you don't eat enough protein, after you eat, you're going to be craving different things. And people want salty stuff, and then they want sugary stuff. Or they want sugary stuff, and then they want salty stuff. And you end up eating a lot of junk. If you eat enough protein in your meals, you won't crave that stuff so badly because your body's getting what it needs out of what you eat. That's much better for you than a bag of potato chips or a soda or some chocolate milk or whatever it is that you're dumping sugar in, or has sugar in it. You're going to be craving it. Salt. My salts usually run kind of low because, again, I wash out a lot of stuff out of my system. I drink 3-4 cups of coffee in the morning. I might have one in the evening, and so that washes out. It's a diuretic. It washes a lot of water out of my system, and it causes problems because when it washes out things with it, like potassium and salt. I've seen an extreme case of a guy that I used to had in my care. He used to drink too much Pepsi. He'd drink cola all day long. And he got really, really sick, and I took him to the hospital, and his salt levels were so low, he was in extreme danger of damaging his organs. And so they ended up keeping him for about 2 weeks. So eating salt is not necessarily bad. Eating too much salt is something different. And eating too much fat is something different. And if you're eating those simple carbs, you're packing away fat. If you're not burning it off like right away, you're packing on fat. Simple carbs will build more fat quicker than complex. So what you want to do is limit the amount of carbs that you take in. Having no carbs, simple carbs, is not necessarily a good thing, but a little bit goes a long ways. And again, eat hearty and be active. And if you can't be active, cut down the things that are bad for you. And eat the amount of protein that some of these calculators recommend. I am kind of low to medium in my activity because of my legs and stuff. And so I eat less, a little less than what they recommend. I recommend 150. I actually eat about 130, give or take. And I know those meals, whenever I don't eat enough, I get the craving things that I don't need. So eat enough protein, figure out your meals, and act accordingly. And vegetables, we're going to talk about vegetables and fruit later. That's a whole different subject because you start talking about all the different vitamins and different things that your body needs. And you can get those from vegetables rather than taking, and fruit, and instead of taking supplements. I take a potassium supplement because I can't eat a lot of the things that have a lot of potassium in it. I can't have no green leafy because I take a lot of blood thinners. I have to have a certain level of blood thinners, and so my body needs more potassium and needs more all the good things that are for you, that's in like green leafy stuff and diuretics and things like that. So I try to make up for that. So I eat more vegetables and fruit. But again, I'll talk more about vegetables and fruit later on. It's a good topic, and there's a lot of good stuff out there for you. So anyway, that pretty much wraps up protein. There's some things I probably didn't cover, but you have a better idea, hopefully. If you watched all these on protein, you got a much better idea of how to figure out what you're eating and what you need to add. Or if you're eating way too much, you need to cut a little bit out, because excessive protein does cause problems with the digestive system and the kidneys, whereas too much simple carbs add fat, damages things that, not all the organs, but several of them. So it's much worse for you. So keep healthy by eating healthy, and come back. We're going to cover some more things on food. My next video is going to be for everybody, and it's going to be for my I was going to do it just for my paid members, but I don't think I'm going to do it for everybody, is my biscuit rolls, because you can use them for dinner, breakfast, lunch, whatever you want to use them for. So I'll see you next time, and have a good day. See you later.